age before, a consequence of schooling her at home and our quiet life in the countryside. The isolation didn't bother me and Norma, but we were past the age when girls needed a friend with whom to share secrets. Our mother hadn't any friends either, but she never wanted any. She disliked strangers, the natural result of which was that she associated with very few people who weren't either known to her from birth or born to her. We fled Brooklyn for New Jersey, precisely to get away from the few people who did know us and might question how a baby had come to be added to our family. If Mother was forced to reveal anything about us at all to our neighbors out in Wyckoff, she gave only the general impression that her husband had died. This was explanation enough for anyone who might question why a woman in her 40s was living alone on a farm with two nearly grown daughters, an adult son, our brother Francis, now married and living in Hawthorne, and a baby girl. Fleurette grew up believing me to be her sister. The only two people who knew the truth were Norma and Francis. It was a secret that held a terrible power over me when I was younger, but in the last few years, we'd survived my mother's death, the kidnapping threats that first brought Sheriff Heath to us, and most recently, Fleurette's 18th birthday. For the first time, we were finding our way out into the world. Even Norma had put herself on a new path. She ran an advertisement in the Patterson Evening News soliciting members for the New Jersey Society for the Deployment of Messenger Pigeons to Aid in Civic Matters, an organization of her own creation whose name sprang wholly formed from her staid and stodgy imagination. Fleurette tried to suggest something more spirited, such as the Patterson Pigeon Fanciers, which was rejected on the grounds that we lived in Wyckoff, not Patterson. She then put forth Winged Messengers, which Norma thought sounded too mystical, and then she proposed my favorite, the Association of Intelligent Birds, on which Norma refused to pass comment. The name need only explain our undertaking, Norma argued, and I don't want anything that attracts show breeders and fanciers. We've far more important work to do. She had almost 24 answers to her advertisement. The newspaper misprinted her name, calling her Norman Kopp rather than Norma, the result being that a few men dropped out when they understood a woman would be running the show, and there was never any question that Norma would have full charge of club affairs. She appointed herself both president and recording secretary, and saw no need for any other officers or voting members. "It isn't really a society, is it?" Fleurette said when she saw the circular Norma had neatly typed with her name in every leadership position. "It's more of a battalion, with you as the colonel." Every Saturday, 14 people arrived at our house at dawn with their pigeons packed in baskets and ready to fly. There were 6 women in the group. I hadn't any idea that there were so many other women raising pigeons in the barns of Bergen County. A few of them brought a brother or father along. The rest of the group was made up of farmers who raised pigeons along with chickens, ducks, geese, guinea fowl, turkeys, and any other manner of bird that could be raised economically and sold at a profit. None had any real experience in training pigeons to do what came naturally, which was to fly directly home after being transported a great distance. While all pigeons were possessed of this innate ability, Norma had lately come to believe that a methodical training program, begun at birth, would result in pigeons that flew at greater speeds and higher altitudes, making them of better use to doctors, police, and anyone else in need of a way of getting messages to far-flung places where telephone wires didn't reach. It was a relief to see Norma and Fleurette both engaged in their own affairs. Francis used to fret over our ability to run our own lives, but he seemed resigned to the fact that we weren't about to let him take over. He still stopped by to deliver a pie from his wife Bessie, for which we were endlessly grateful, and he would inspect the eaves or look around the barn with a proprietary air. Sometimes he made inquiries about our grazing land, which we leased to neighbors rather than keep our own livestock. We weren't bothered by his questions. We were taking care of ourselves, and my wages were just enough to keep Norma in pigeon feed and Fleurette in ribbons and buttons. If only I could hold on to those wages. Fleurette was admiring herself.